don't even know your name, not really. The one I was told doesn't feel like yours, it's too clean, too distant, like a word someone else gave me so I wouldn't have to face the silence. You were never there to say it yourself. And maybe that's the first wound, the ache of not knowing who you are, because no one ever showed me how to belong. I used to imagine what your voice sounded like. Was it soft? Was it sharp? Did it carry lullabies or lies? I'd picture your hands, whether they would have held mine or let go without looking back. But all I found in those spaces were questions, with no answers, and echoes where your presence should have been. This isn't about blame. It never was. This is about trying to make sense of the weight I carried before I even knew what loss meant. Before I could form full sentences, I already understood abandonment. I learned how to be quiet when people asked about you, how to smile when they assumed I had a mother somewhere, cheering at school plays or braiding my hair on lazy mornings. I learned how to pretend everything was fine while inside something vital was missing. I didn't have a mirror to show me who I was supposed to be. No reflection of safety, of warmth, of unconditional love. So I became a patchwork of survival pieces stitched together from foster homes, group care walls, and strangers' rules. I learned how to read rooms before I could read books, how to shrink myself so I wouldn't be too much for anyone who might leave next. There's a loneliness that only children without mothers understand, a hollow that follows you into adulthood. It hides behind your eyes during holidays, sits beside you on late nights when the world is quiet, and whispers that you were never wanted enough to stay. That kind of grief doesn't scream. It seeps, slowly, quietly, until you forget how to feel anything but numb. But somewhere along the way, I started asking different questions. Not just asterisk, why did she leave asterisk, but asterisk, who am I beyond this absence asterisk? What parts of me survived not because of her but in spite of it? The truth is, I built myself from nothing, from empty arms and unanswered prayers. I found strength I didn't know I had. I taught myself how to mother my own heart, to hold it gently when it broke, to speak kindness over it when shame tried to take root. I found healing in unexpected places, in therapy rooms, in poetry scribbled in margins, in friendships that stayed even when I pushed them away. I found family in people who chose me, not out of obligation, but love. And through every scar, every sleepless night, every moment I almost gave up, I discovered resilience. Not the loud kind, not the kind that shouts and inspires, but the quiet kind. The kind that gets you out of bed when your soul feels heavy and your past still haunts your dreams. The kind that says, asterisk, I will survive this. I will live beyond this. Asterisk, so this letter isn't an accusation. It's a goodbye, a letting go. I'm done waiting for a version of you that never came. Done carrying the burden of wondering if I was enough, if I was worth staying for. I was, I am, and I always will be. Because the girl who grew up without a mother became a woman who found her own voice, her own strength, her own power. I may not have had your arms around me, but I found my own. And they're strong enough now, strong enough to hold myself, strong enough to hold others. If you're watching this, you might know this pain. Maybe you were raised by strangers. Maybe your mother was there, but emotionally absent. Or maybe you were left with questions that never got answered. Wherever you are, whatever your story looks like, you are not alone. This is your space, your echo, your reminder that survival is its own kind of miracle. And healing doesn't require perfection, it just needs persistence. One more day, one more breath, one more step forward, even when you don't know where you're going. Before you click away, I want to ask you something. Leave your story in the comments. Just a sentence, a memory, a feeling, something that shows you're here. Because when we share our truths, we create a community of unseen hearts beating together. Tell me, who were you before you learned how to survive? And who are you becoming now? Thank you for being here, for listening, for holding space, for refusing to stay silent. You matter. Your story matters. And your survival is proof that even in the deepest wounds, there's a light that refuses to die.